make a compelling argument why men should get married.
If you're not religious, it's really, really difficult to give a compelling reason because I believe it's a spiritual thing. I believe it's just a fulfillment of your duty as a man of God. So if you're not religious in any way, then why bother?
Okay. All right. Well, I'll just move on then.
You think that if somebody's not religious, they like, what's the point in getting married if you're not religious?
No, I'm just saying for a man from his perspective, if he's not religious.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
And doesn't believe. Yeah, if you don't believe you're fulfilling God's
I
will
can't think
for
of a single reason on planet Earth why a secularist would get married. A secularist man, a man who is absent religion, I can't think of a single compelling reason for him to get married in today's market.
What about children?
You think that it's not... Wait,
They can have children absent marriage.
Yeah, but like, isn't that the whole like men's thing that it's like the man's name passed on through generations? And
Yeah,
it's
his
like,
name will still pass on to the next generation. He can still have children without getting
Yeah, I
married.
still have my
That's
dad's
whole
last
point.
name, even though my mom and dad were never married. So that's not a compelling reason, but I definitely think there's other reasons why you would want to get married to somebody even if you're not religious.
Like what?
Like financially, it would be smart. And
Whoa.
it
Let's
can
do-
be if
let's
done the
do
right
one-
way.
Let's do 1 point at a time.
Yeah, 1 point at a time.
Okay.
All right, so you said financially. Is it a smart financial decision if you end up divorced?
Well, you don't get married with the intention to get divorced. I don't think
What's the
anyone that's
divorce
like
rate?
walking down the aisle is like, I'm going to divorce this guy in 20 years.
Right, but do you think, okay, so here's the thing though, with this whole like, well, no one has the intention of getting married and sorry, there's a bug tripping me out, with the intention of getting divorced, right?
Yeah.
But people who go into the marriage anticipating that this is going to be the person that I'm going to stay with forever, I really love them, everything's great. Those people, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, 10 year down the road, invariably end up getting divorced.
Yeah, I'm aware that most marriages do end in divorce. I'm aware that like it's not super probable that you will be that 1 in 1,000 or 1 in a million person that won't get divorced, but I don't think anyone goes into a marriage willingly thinking that
Yeah, sure, but
they're going to get divorced.
let us assume for a minute that 48%, or almost half, of everybody who played contact sports got brain damaged. So this is half of everybody who plays it, not professionally, just they play it, they get brain damaged. And your son came to you and said, Mom, I want to play contact sports. Would you tell him not to?
No, but I'm not saying like, okay, so all I'm saying is that it's like there's other reasons to get married. I'm not
Right,
saying that
you would tell
there's
him to
not
go ahead and
reasons to
play
get
him?
divorced. What?
You would tell him to go ahead and play him?
If my son wanted to play football, a contact sport, I'm not going to stop him on the probability that he could get hurt. You could get hurt.
No.
doing
That's not. I want you to focus on this. So right now, because I think you're misinterpreting what I'm saying to you. Right now, your chances of having some type of long-term injury, playing just kind of regular contact sport, high school football, basketball, things like that, they're not very high. That your chance of getting a long-term injury, very, very low. But let us assume for a minute that the chances were half. 50% of all people who played contact sports were going to get some type of serious injury. Wouldn't you tell your son not to do that then?
No.
No,
Even if
what?
I'm not going to tell
Really?
I'm not going to tell my son that he's not allowed to play sports if there's a 50% chance that he could get hurt.
Okay,
I would tell him
well, let me ask you a different
wipe
question.
off the and I would tell him to wipe it off.
Let me ask you a
and get back up
different
and do it
one.
again.
He just said
If 50% of the women that your son could potentially sleep with had HIV, would you tell him not to sleep with women
I would tell him to wear protection.
until they were married, or until there was a seriously a firm foundation where they knew that they wouldn't get HIV? If 50%, if the rate was every man who had sex, 50% of them got HIV.
I would tell him to, just like there's going to be odds of like if you sleep with one person or 1,000 people, there's going to be a chance. It might be more unlikely the less people you sleep with, of course, but there's still a chance for you to get HIV or any other STD. But
Yeah, but what
living
if
your
it was
life in fear and
50%?
not doing something because of the chance that something could go wrong, that's like me saying I shouldn't have driven my car because there's a chance that I could get in an accident.
I think that if you were in a place where every time you got in your car, there was a 50% chance you were going to get in an accident, you would recommend nobody ever drive a car ever again. Like, for instance, imagine if I gave you a scenario where 50% of people who picked up a firearm died from a gunshot wound. 50%. Wouldn't you then be like, no guns? Like, 50% that's an incredible amount, right?
I understand what you're saying, and I get that you're trying to make the analogy that 50% of marriages end in divorce. Is that where you're going with that? Am I right for assuming that's?
I think it's slightly less, but the point here is that it's a massive amount to the tune that it's close enough that deviating from it doesn't matter much, right?
Yeah, of course. I'm not denying the fact that there is like a big chance that the marriage could end in divorce. But if I'm choosing to marry someone and it's not for religious reasons, it's because I want to show them that I'm committed to them and wear something to symbolize, like a ring, to symbolize that I am going to be committed to them for the rest of my life. That shows outwardly to others that I am completely off the market, not interested. And that also shows to my partner going through a ceremony with all of my family and friends and relatives that I am committing my life, for better or for worse, to another person. I don't understand
why you couldn't do every single one of those things. But why couldn't you do every single one of those things and then not get married? So, for instance, you could have a ceremony where you committed to the person. You could wear something that showed everybody that you were committed, that would be recognizable. You could even wear a sign that says, I'm in a committed relationship.
Why do all the things and not sign the paperwork?
Why would any of those be a requisite for marriage from a secular perspective?
Why involve the government?
Yeah, I'm not personally saying like that I need to get married even though I'm not religious. I'm just saying that there are thousands of millions of people that want to make that commitment to their partner and not for a religious purpose. I'm not saying that it's wrong or right to do it for a religious purpose. Obviously, whatever you believe in, your beliefs are yours and you have every right to, believe those things. I'm just saying in general terms, like anyone can want to get married and it's not just because of a religious purpose. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, but my counter to this is if you could have all of the things that it is that you're after without it being marriage and you were not religious, what would actually be your incentive to get married? Because if you involve the state, then a man ups his risk significantly rather than if he does not. So from a man's perspective, if he's non-religious, why in the world would he ever want to involve the state in any sort of marriage?
What risk are you explaining that it would up or that it would make more of a
absent a prenup, judges are more likely to default to women when it comes to child custody. Though that is getting better, it's still the default. They're far more likely to get alimony. They're far more likely to get all sorts of payments. They're far more likely to have assets split. There's all sorts of issues which come up if they tie the knot with the state. They're really marrying the state. They're not really marrying you.
Yeah. No, I understand like your points of view. I was just saying, I wasn't trying to say that like I personally want to get married even though I'm not religious. I'm just saying that everyone should have the right to make that commitment to their partner if that's what they so choose to do. Whether they do it under church or under God or under whatever religion is.
We're not talking about
this avoids the question. The question isn't whether or not people should be able to get married if they want to.
Well, that was her statement. That's why I said what I said.
Oh, did we just waste 5 minutes because you totally misunderstood?
I asked her.
The question is asking
her.
What?
I asked her before I even started on my tangent at all. I literally asked her.
So you think the conversation is about should people have the right to get married?
No, I'm saying my reasoning for why people should still why it's not a bad thing for people and the reasons why they can't, why they should, or why they would want to get married despite not being religious.
Well, I haven't really heard any good reasons.
I said several different reasons.
You said financial?
I said financial, and then I also said financial. I also said that it would be like a commitment greater than a girlfriend or a boyfriend that you'd want to make to somebody else in front of all of your significant others. He's saying you can do that anyways, but what's the point in doing that if you're not actually going to go all the way through with it?
Wait, so that's our entire point. What would be the point in doing any of that absent religion if you get all the benefits?
I'm just saying everyone reserves the right to do so if they want to.